Thank you.
You're welcome.
So today's song is going to be Sucker for Punishment, which you played on in the attic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's an attic song.
The attic.
Yeah, so what... Now, the attic was kind of old, kind of dusty, and you have a bit of the asthma. So what convinced you to go up into the attic to...
Well, I don't know if there's any convincing. You just invited me over, and I don't think you told me it was in an attic, or I don't know. I can't remember. But that's where it was, so that's where it was. I hung in as long as I could. I don't know how long I made it before I started choking out.
Well, you... I had it set up in there for quite a while, so you came back week after week for quite a while and did a bunch of songs. In fact, on A Time of Madness, you're on... there are 11 songs, and you play on 7 of them.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I remember the basement of that place. It had problems with tree roots getting into the sewage pipe, so it would back up all the time.
Oh, wow.
And so I couldn't do anything in the basement. Anything put in the basement would get destroyed. It happened once, twice a year, and sometimes it just really filled up. It was pretty disgusting, really.
Wow.
And so there was an attic there, and the attic was it wasn't really meant as a room of the house. It was
No shit. No shit, Terry.
but I noticed there was a door to get up there.
Climbing a ladder to get into an attic through a cubby hole or whatever the hell that was, and then all this exposed insulation everywhere. It was just a nightmare.
It was a hell of a fire trap.
It's a good dead room, though. It was dead.
It did, and that's probably what saved those recordings, because it sure wasn't my engineering prowess.
And that was playing your kit, though. I didn't take my kit up there. That was your drums that were in place. Did I tune them, or did I just play them as is? I probably didn't, or if I did, it would have been at the beginning, so they all matched, I guess.
Well, I hope you did. I remember you bringing that up. You were there, and you sort of asked. I don't remember your exact words, but I remember the tone. You were asking carefully in a way that a person asks when they don't want to offend someone, and you ask something to the effect of, "Are you this drum sound? Is this are these the way you want them to be?" And my answer was like, "Well, I don't know. You tell me. You're the drummer," or something to that effect. And I think you answered, because they're tuned in a way I've never heard drums tuned before.
Wow.
I'm just saying they're just tuned in a way I've never heard before. So I was like, hey, well, you can tune them if you like. I don't know.
Did I tune them? I guess I did then.
I hope so. Well, they sound... I think the recordings really have turned out, in the present day when I listen to them, and I know those I've been fixing in the mix ever since, so there's been a lot of time and energy put toward them, because I really, after, when I went broke and ended up living in the apartment and just didn't have anywhere to do anything musical anymore. I couldn't make any loud noise. And Chad was just never useful to use his place as a studio for a variety of reasons.
His house there?
Yeah, he was always... the funny thing is, when he moved in there, when he got that house, all he would talk about was all that great... musical stuff we do there, but it was funny. Chad was the kind of guy, something big's coming down the street. I guess you got a lot of construction going on.
it's a major thoroughfare, so you
Yeah.
get some big trucks through now and again.
Happens all the time. But Chad had a really funny way about him. He was moody, like cripplingly so. Like if he wasn't in the right mood for something, you had a problem. But he also, it was funny, if he worked out really well with the band when he wasn't in control of anything. If I was in charge and leading things and had everything worked out and who's doing what, then he was good. He was good. He seemed to really need structure. When I was in a position where I could show up and play, but I really couldn't do all the things I normally did, and I could have really used Chad to take over at that point, and he could have gotten everything he wanted, because he always had complaints about everything. But it never worked out because he really had this attitude of, okay, my house, my rules.
Oh, yeah.
Not that he ever said that, but that was his attitude. And so when he'd go there, it was, he'd feel the need to be on the phone for an hour, taking a cigarette break for an hour. He'd have people over all the time. In fact, at a certain point, there were people constantly living there. It just, you couldn't go there and practice. It was, the same problems there were what I had with the apartment, and that it just wasn't, which is you need a space that you can lock down. I mean, it's not that there was anyone doing anything to me antagonistically.
Yeah.
It just, you need a space to lock down that's the studio space, and that's what that's for.
Yeah.
And it just cannot be a place where people come and go. It just doesn't work. You can't dual purpose a studio and a living space if there's more than one person living there.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. And with Chad, that was the situation. And it was, Chad really needed to have people in his life and around him. So that's why that existed.
Sure.
It wasn't anything that he was trying to do. So it never really worked out. And even when you tried to talk about it with him, it was just incompatible with him.
Yeah.
But if you took him and put him in a situation where all that's taken care of, oh, he did great. Yeah. But he just needed someone else to be in control. And someone that he could complain about being in control. But he just wasn't a leader. I don't know how I got started talking about Chad, but we were talking about the attic. Yes. And so I'm a little lost, not that that's a problem.
Getting back to the attic.
Getting back to the attic, yeah. Oh, yeah, I have no idea how I got down this track. We were talking about the movie at one point.
You can review the tape later.
Yeah. But yes, I think somehow I was talking about you're on most of the songs. And
was that on your drums or my drums?
Mine. Yeah, Wreath, we used your drums, and this, we used my drums.
You still have those drums?
Yeah. Actually, I got them back from. You see, when Chad was in his in his final days, he was gearing up to take a trip out of the city to Vancouver, and actually he was hoping to meet up with an ex-girlfriend of mine. Actually, you know what's funny about Chad? Just to kind of show, it's funny. Chad can be a terrible person, and he's done, some things I would consider awful for me. But he had, I don't know if he had value for me or if he had value for being a part of the band, because I know being a part of the band really did something for his ego. It was really special to him. But he, this ex-girlfriend was coming in through town, and I guess he liked her, so he wanted to go say hello to her. He met her back in the day. So he sends me a text message to ask, would you mind, would you be, is it okay if I try, if I go for it? So I text back, yeah, sure, I don't care. This was long ago, and I just, any attachment is long ago. I was like, fine. So So he texts me again a little bit later. Are you sure? Da 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 da. And I was like, yeah, yes, I'm sure. So I text him again. Later on, he phones me to make sure I'm sure. Because he's actually been through that before. He was once telling me a story about there was a friend of his, a wife, and himself, and they were drinking a little too much one night, and so I don't know, he was getting touchy fondly with the wife, and at least in the moment, the friend, the husband was just, beer laughing or whatever. He's like, "Are you sure that's okay?" Or whatever.
Wow.
And I remember having a conversation with Chad, and Chad. So they of course, they were on their way to a divorce anyway. I don't know if that was what pushed them over the edge or if it was a long time coming. But anyway, so they ended up divorcing. And not soon after, this friend sort of had it with Chad and stopped speaking to him, I think for the rest of his life. And I remember just Chad talking about that story and then just, just kind of wondering, it's strange that he doesn't talk to me or doesn't, it's just like, hey, he just doesn't want to talk to me anymore. What are you going to do? And I just kind of look at it. How is it that you don't understand?
Fondling his wife in front of him.
It's like even if he's giggling at the moment, that shit sticks with a person, and it sticks hard.
I would say so, yeah.
And so maybe he had some firsthand experience with that, but he was, I just remember he made sure to ask 3 times before he went for it, and so anyway, so he was going off on this trip. So he was, he was getting his stuff in storage, and his life was kind of falling apart. So I had visions of him running into a ditch or something. I thought, this last person who needs to be out on the road on a long trip, and I got a lot of, not everything. But I got most of my stuff back at that time.
Right.
And I was making a point about getting it back too, because I thought, well, there's all sorts of things that could happen to him while he's out on the road. And also if it's in storage, it's not in his control. And then I know, there's the other people in his life might have different ideas about what to do with it. And so I just thought, it's just a really good idea. Also, there was kind of a last album that I always wanted to record, and I was gearing up to record it. So I wanted the drums to record that, and it was weird because I wanted to record it with him, but he was planning to drive across the country. And his life was completely a mess, and it was weird because it was like I really there's so much about it that I wanted to be talking to him about, and kind of I wanted to make another album with him, but I also, if he needed to drive across the country, because that's what I didn't really want to get in the way of that, because I felt if I felt he would stick around for the purpose of making this album. He absolutely would find a way to stick around. And I felt, well, if he can't get a job in the city because everyone remembers his name for one reason or another, I don't want to be responsible for making his life any worse than what it already is. So I was kind of... I really didn't know how to discuss things with him because of that. And it was a really weird moment. And what was really weird is when he did die a few months later, it was strange. My desire to make that last album just kind of faded. I ended up making Read the Second, which was something else. I sort of made that because I didn't really feel like making that one anymore. And it's sort of still one of those things where I like the songs I wrote for it, and I feel I think it's good material. I mean, Chad had heard most, if not all of it, and some of them he declared to be the best thing ever written, at least by this act. And he, but it's weird. Just the like I feel like I've been looking for any excuse not to record it over the past couple of years. Like, I've been, like, I'm remixing Show Your Blood right now. I'm spending lots of time on it.
Yeah.
I could have been spending this time recording that.
Yeah.
And I chose not to. And, there's like, I've been like asking myself, well, why don't you do remixing after you get that out of the way? Because that would be a bigger project. And, with more interesting results, it'd be new songs, the best songs that I've ever written. But I think there's a part of me. What I think about is like, if so long as that one's unrecorded, this Rena G.D.E thing and Chad in a way, it's all still alive. I think, as long as there's still something left to do, there's kind of a sense that it's still alive. And I know when I finished recording that, well, I don't know anything, but it feels like that would be truly the end. And so it's like, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so those were my drums, and I got them back. Yeah.
How long's this show?
I don't know. I'm actually kind of wondering if this might need to be cut up or split up or something.
It's a little longer than 20 minutes, I think.
I think I took over and started babbling and just.
That's okay. I think that's entertaining. I was having fun.
Yeah, stories about Chad are always fun.
I always found him respectful. Like, to me, he was always respectful.
He was, but he had his own code of what constituted respect.
Well, I don't know, because I wasn't, but I didn't hang out with him. The thing is, I didn't work over long. It was always just very short periods of time with me. So it's a lot easier to, like, familiarity breeds contempt. So if you're not that familiar, then you're going to kind of be on your better behavior. And I always got that sense of where he was, is he was always on his best behavior with me.
Maybe. I don't know, because you were, I know you were, he jammed with you at least on one occasion, if not more than one, but at least once at the music store. Played with him, I know, because I have it on video. And you played an excellent version of the Bottle song. And
Where was this?
in the early days, when I started renting the back of Tim's Big World of Music.
Okay.
There was a day when Mike, for whatever reason, couldn't make it, which was rare. Mike was just always there. And, well, Curtis or Saul Goodman, he never showed up. And so it was no surprise.
I think I was there once, wasn't I?
That might have been the one and only time. Yeah. Then I thought, well, I have the time. Let's call up, because Chad wasn't part of the band yet. So it was the first time Chad and I had jammed in quite a while. And I called you. I was just making use of the time, the space. And we had a lot of fun. That was a really good jam. And that moment got me thinking, well, I think Chad is capable of actually doing this. Because I tried to work with him in the past and it always just didn't work out. But at this point in his life, he was steady, he had a job, he was paying for things. He had really, he went from being homeless to owning a home. Although he didn't quite own the home yet, but he was well on his way. And he was just a much more stable person. And Saul was just, he was never there. So actually being at that practice might have, clued me in. I think Chad can actually do this, so let's bring him on, and say, well, I tried to do it as a 4-piece, but Saul just wouldn't show up. So despite what he said on the phone, he was always wheeling and dealing, whatever. So he was on the phone, whatever. He just. so Chad came over and took the spot, and Chad, just was it was like it was just waiting for him. He was he was really the embodiment of the spirit of the band. Even if he had his problems, he really once he got in there, it was all about him, and rightfully so.
I'm just trying to remember a story. Didn't we do a? Wasn't there a show at Ozzy's with him? Was it with him?
Chad?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one you filmed or helped film.
I don't know.
Yeah, we played at Aussie's with Chad. It was the last show, and
He was necking with his girlfriend the whole time. Wasn't that the one?
might have been.
I think he was. I think that's what I remember is he was out front necking with his new girlfriend.
Oh, probably.
I'm pretty sure.
I know he kind of made the mistake of he was whooping it up and drinking lots of shots with the band who was on before us, and so when we started to play after about 3 songs, he crashed, like just all the alcohol hit him, and he just kind of dragged along for the rest of it, and I think the strap broke on his bass, and he was just going slow, so he didn't quite know what to do with the whole thing for a while. So he was kind of doing lots of stuff he wasn't proud of later, and it was really too bad we weren't able to do more that year. But again, I was broke and in no position to arrange things, and so it really would have been up to him, and he just wasn't. Well, actually, Mike was tired of the band at that point, so Mike, that was sort of the last thing he wanted to do, and he went off to, and he moved on at that point, which perfectly fine. And we actually did have another guy come down who played with us, jammed with us once. He did really well. But I was getting a little, I felt Chad mistreated the guy, actually.
Oh, yeah?
He was down, and he was, he was playing the songs good, just wasn't perfect, little here and there, but he had practiced things up ahead of time, and he was doing very well, and I just felt he just needed to play things a lot more time. We just needed to have him down more and play more of him. And if I had my own space, that's exactly what I would have done. I would have had him down as much as possible the next few weeks and played as much as possible. But I didn't. There was Chad's place. And, so this guy came down and we did a fairly respectable first jam. And Chad was just happened to be a day that he was in a mood. And, he was just like, not, this is unacceptable. Oh, gee.
Oh, really?
Got me out of bed for this. And this was his attitude, not his words.
Yeah.
But, and I just, and as the jam went on, I was just getting progressively more and more angry at Chad. And I think the other guy felt it but didn't know what was going on.
Right.
So he might have got the impression that he was just not doing well.
Right.
But I was getting mad at Chad because I felt Chad was mistreating this guy.
Right.
And I probably accidentally ended up mistreating the guy because I was angry at Chad. And he might have thought that I was getting...
Was that the last guy you saw that guy? Last time you saw that guy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean...
That's too bad.
I'm still connected with him on Facebook. So I suppose I could say... reach out or whatever, but it was kind of the thing was there was no space for me to reach out and say, why don't you come down here and we'll just jam together, we'll bring Chad in afterwards and whatever.
Right.
There was none of that, and I just knew that how's it going to work, what who am I going to get down and play with, because Chad's he has the space, but he's just not capable of
holding it together
long enough for a person to get trained to learn our songs or learn how to play them with us, kind of thing.
Right.
Which was probably a real missed opportunity. And I probably could have, I don't know, it's one of those things I wish I had the right zen-like power to be able to smooth out things or keep things going or say the right things to everyone. But, I didn't. And I was under a lot of my own financial pressure. I had my own, hard life worries too, rather than think about that. So that's pretty much what brought the band to an end for all practical matters.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
On to the next day.
Yeah. I made this all about me and not about you.
That's okay. I'm a good listener.
So, the attic. Yeah.
We're not starting again, are we? We're probably 30 minutes in there, I bet.
We're probably an hour.
You think so? Oh, holy jeez.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I think I'll absolutely have to cut this up, and maybe I'll insert little bits and pieces into different videos. And, but yeah, that's kind of the weird thing about when I talk about this time of madness, because it was largely recorded at this time, but I really didn't get around to doing a lot with it until like after the band was done. And then its story became entwined with kind of making that movie. And when I talk about it, it's like I'm in two places, two completely different eras of the band at once. And yeah. But yeah, well, I don't think this has anything to do with whatever the song of the day was. But I'll have to have you back and actually get you to say something.
All right.
We'll get a different perspective on this whole thing.
All right, Terry.
All right, thanks, Glenn.
You're welcome, brother.
Boy, I just went off.
Yeah, a lot of content there.
Yeah, I'll probably regret half of it after I listen to it.